Hello, so I want to get you oriented to Groove Animator and some of the basics of using it. And so one thing I just want to point out right up front is we're sorry. We did discover that a few of the images in the categories are have corrupt, and so we need to fix them. We'll be updating them as soon as possible today and getting them in the app. One thing, as I mentioned in the orientation video or the Watch Me First video, is that we are able to update Groove Animator on a much faster basis. So you'll probably see it updated several times a day throughout the launch week. And so one of the first things that we've got to do is fix these corrupted images. And so we're sorry about that, but it shouldn't take too long. But anyways, here is the images. So you'll see them over here on the right, and there's a series of categories that you can select here. And I've done this first little kind of whiteboard looking image as flower. And that was one of the first things that you need to kind of pay attention to is that these are little anablocks on the timeline here. And so you can see that when it's blue, it's selected, and when it's white, it's not. So I need to have it selected. Then I'm going to come up here to the animations tab up here, and there's a lot of different animations, but I'm going to be focusing on the draw lines initially. And you can see here that I can click on some color palettes. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a couple of colors here. And then what I can do is select one of these color options. So I'm going to do quick draw, for example. Now I can click on the Groove It option down here, or I can do the keyboard shortcut shift spacebar. And I've done a shift spacebar, and it's gone ahead and done that animation. Now if I click on line by line, I can do a shift spacebar, and you can see it's done the line by line instead. Or I can click on this draw in and out, shift spacebar again, and it's going to do the draw in and out effect. And we'll be adding some other animation effects here. Now I want to point out on the timeline, you can do a couple cool things. First of all, you can stretch it, so you can make that effect last longer. And notice that the timeline basically doubles every time you do that. So if I want to do it, and I can also move it on the timeline, so I don't have to have it, start at the beginning. I have a start time up here that I can do if I want to. There's a couple of other things. I can change the number of times that it loops. I can adjust the speed and all kinds of stuff like that. And I'll be going into other things like that in other videos. But mainly I just want to get you oriented to this. So now notice that, when you're first starting out and you're animating, you can draw along. By the way, you can scrub here and look at this. Now, if you ever kind of run into a situation where it's not working, you can simply go ahead and delete it and go ahead and start, and then go in here and change, whatever colors you want, and do it again, and hit shift spacebar, and you're going to be able to animate it again. And real quick, let's do some quick text. I can come over here and I can add some text, and I can say hello here, and I can select a font. There's some fonts here that we're finding that are a little bit, that basically when they're converted to outline, they are a little rough. So we're probably going to be adding and removing some fonts, so bear that in mind as well. But I can click on add text here, and then I can go to the animation and do the same sort of thing. I'm doing the shift spacebar again to do the animation, and that's how you can do your animation. You can go ahead and click on export to export it. We are adding export options today as well, and so just letting you know. So this is going to get you started here, and I'll be going into detail in other videos. There's a lot of cool advanced things you can do with the timeline, and of course there's a bunch of other types of animation and so forth. If you want to make your own art, do look at the video on how to make your own art. We are working on making it easier to import art as well, but there's a couple things to note in that video as well.